Jordan here, bringing you an instant noodle tip, helping you to improve your art while you wait for your instant noodles to cook. So pour in that hot water and seasoning packets and let's get started. Today we'll be talking about detail density and how we can implement and utilize it better in our art. I like to think about detail density as similar to hatching. In hatching, you can achieve a darker value through increasing the density of lines, sometimes by overlapping them and varying their direction. You can apply the same way of thinking when you are creating various textures for your design. Here is the principle applied to real textures. Notice how when you squint your eyes, you see that each texture swatch gets subsequently darker from the increased density. It's very important that each texture is distinct from one another from this squint read. So here's an example of textures that are not very distinct from each other. It becomes painfully obvious when you apply them to an actual design. Here is the same design with more varied and distinct textures. Notice how I also decided to change the direction of the wood texture to further distinguish it from the horizontally dominant brick texture. I also decided to apply a triangular tip to the roof shingles and make them smaller, to have it stand out against the larger and more squarish bricks and planks. So to summarize, outside of detail density alone, you can also experiment with different directions, shape sizes, shape types to create more contrast between each texture. You also don't have to limit one texture to a certain density. You can stylize them so they are more sparse or dense according to your own needs. Another method of controlling your detail density is to have the texture fade away the closer it reaches the center. The logic behind it can be two things. 1. Imagine a spotlight illuminating the surface with the brightest part hitting the center area. This causes our eyes to squint and blur out the details, resulting in the faded density. 2. Dirt and grime tends to build up in corners, nooks, and crannies, causing darker values in those areas. The center area will then be cleaner by comparison. We can also utilize detail density to indicate volumes better as well. On cylindrical forms, the textures become more dense and compressed as it reaches the sides. Lastly, to help you control your detail density better, you can apply a certain logic or order to them. In these examples, I have decided to push my foliage and rocks into the corners. The center now becomes an area of rest, and order has been applied to a seemingly random and chaotic arrangement. Well, it looks like the noodles are done cooking, so let's dig in. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit subscribe so you can receive updates when the next one is up. If you also found this video to be helpful, share it with someone else that you think can benefit from it as well. Be sure to also use the hashtag Instant Noodle Tips so I can see how it has helped you improve your art. Until then, I'll see you on the next Instant Noodle Tips. Stay stretchy.